The subjunctive. It is a classic point of confusion for anybody at the intermediate level in Spanish. Now, you've learned lots of grammar up to this point. You may even feel like you've got a pretty good command of everything you need to know in Spanish grammar, but Spanish can definitely throw some curveballs at you. And once you become aware of exactly how the subjunctive works in Spanish, you'll realize there's probably a whole bunch of things that you've been saying wrong all this time. Take this common expression, for example. Es posible que vamos mañana. It's possible that we'll go tomorrow. Es correcto o no? What do you think? Is this right? Well, we'll come back to this example at the end of the video. In this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to the subjunctive, focusing on one particular usage, which we're going to call the noun phrase. And this includes some of the most common phrases that you'll need in Spanish. If you're not yet familiar with exactly how to conjugate common verbs in the subjunctive, then you should pause the video and take a quick look through your textbook, because it's actually pretty simple. There are only a handful of irregular verbs in Spanish, and you can learn them fairly quickly. What's much more difficult is to know when you actually use the subjunctive, and that's what we're going to look at in this video and others in the series. So where do we start? Well, we start with a formula for these noun phrases I mentioned earlier. What you need to do is to look out for key verbs and expressions that are followed by the Spanish word que. Have a look at this sentence. Espero que disfrutes tus vacaciones. I hope you enjoy your holidays. Now look carefully at the part of the sentence that follows que. Espero que disfrutes tus vacaciones. I hope you enjoy your holiday. Do you notice that the verb disfrutar, which means to enjoy, has changed? And rather than being tú disfrutas with an A, you enjoy, it is actually tú disfrutes with an E in the subjunctive. Here are the key features of this sentence that I want you to notice. First, there are two different subjects in this sentence. We have yo espero que tú disfrutes tus vacaciones. We have yo y tú, me and you, or I and you. Secondly, you've got the word que, which is often a sign that the subjunctive may be just around the corner. It's important to point out that there are two different subjects, the I and the you here, because if, for example, you wanted to say, I hope I enjoy my holiday, then you'll use a different expression altogether. You'll say, espero disfrutar mis vacaciones. I hope to enjoy my holiday, which is much easier because you just stick two verbs together, esperar and disfrutar. So again, in the case that we're looking at in this video, we'll be looking for sentences and examples where the two subjects are different, such as I and you, and when there's a que linking it all together. The easiest way to remember what situation to use the subjunctive in is when you're talking about three things: desires, needs, and emotions. So see how these three ideas are linked? They're all kind of feelings and things that matter to us personally: desires, needs, and emotions. In Spanish, some verbs that might fit into this category are espero, prefiero, quiero, necesito, me alegro de, me molesta. All of these verbs express a kind of desire, need, or emotion of some kind. So for example, prefieren que hagamos la reservación ya. They prefer us to make the reservation now. Does this sentence fit our earlier criteria? Well, let's have a look. We have two subjects. We have they, ellos prefieren, and we have we, nosotros hagamos. We also have que right in the middle. And we also have the verb preferir, to prefer, which indicates a preference or a need for something. Bingo, all of our criteria. We also use the subjunctive with expressions of doubt, like these words in Spanish. Dudo, no pienso, no creo. For example, ¿no piensas que sea mejor hablar con Juan? Don't you think it would be better to talk to Juan? We can also use the subjunctive with a variety of other expressions, and these expressions correspond to it is in English, like these. Es bueno, es posible, es necesario. For example, es bueno que tú aprendas español. Es bueno que tú aprendas español. it's good that you're learning Spanish. Notice again that we've got that que in there, dividing the two parts of the sentence. And we've got two subjects. We've got es bueno, it is. And then we've got tú aprendas, you learn. Two different subjects. The way that I like to think about these expressions here is that they're not simple statements of fact. They convey a kind of judgment. For example, es bueno, it's good that, you're judging. Or of possibility, es posible. Or of obligation, es necesario. So this kind of means it's not really a straightforward statement, and my point of view is in there somewhere. Often in Spanish, when you've got a subjective statement or a point of view, that often means that the subjunctive is going to come into play. So let's go back to our original example. Dime si es correcto o no. Es posible que vamos mañana. Of course, this is not correct. The correct sentence would be es posible que vayamos mañana. We've got es posible, our expression of doubt or possibility. We've got que in the middle, and we've got our two subjects. We've got the it in es posible, and we've got the us in vayamos mañana. So once again, to know if you'll be using the subjunctive, there are three triggers to look out for. We've got desires, needs and emotions. We've got doubts, and we've got other expressions that aren't straightforward factual statements. In this video, we have only just scratched the surface. There are exceptions, there are other things you have to learn, but as always with Spanish, this can wait. Right now, what's important is to plant the seed of how the subjunctive might be used in Spanish in your brain. Your task is to go out, read and listen to a lot of Spanish and simply notice when the subjunctive is being used, because you'll quickly get used to it. In the Fluent Spanish Academy, we have a collection of short stories written using a high concentration of the subjunctive, which you'll find extremely helpful to read and learn the subjunctive naturally. But of course, you can also find the subjunctive used anywhere in authentic Spanish material. So look out for other videos on this topic. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and leave me a comment below with any questions.
I hope you enjoyed this grammar lesson. Now, to download the full notes for this lesson, please click the link in the video description below, and that will take you to a page where you can sign up for our Spanish Vault and get free access to that and lots of other stuff. Now, if you'd like to test yourself on this grammar point, then check out the next video where we have a little quiz prepared for you. Otherwise, please subscribe to the channel y nos vemos en el próximo.